Welcome back to the desk. We're joined by Wyatt, Dylan, Samantha, and Chris. With the William Patterson men and women's basketball season ending, we move on to the Diamond to talk some baseball and softball. So we have 2 experts for the men and 2 experts for the women. So we'll start things off with the baseball team. They have 5 returning starters, which could be a good thing, but it could also be a bad thing. Do you guys think that's going to help the team or hurt them long run?
Well, I think it's really going to help them because the returning starters that are coming back are really good. I mean, you look at a guy like a Micah Bate who hit close to 400 last year, was a first-team all-conference. Then you look at guys like Robbie Eggert, who's playing second base. And we'll take a look. Anthony Hoagland, he's going to play first base. He might even move to the outfield. Eric Colon, who hit 6 home runs last year, was a DH. Mike Rowe, he'll be in the outfield along with a Bate and probably Hoagland. This is a very good team. They lose a guy like Casey Abel, who led the team in RBIs last year. But still, there's a lot of power in this lineup.
Yeah, we got a chance to talk to the manager, Mike Lauderhan, yesterday, and he's really excited about the lineup top to bottom. There's a lot of speed and power in the Pioneers in the Pioneers lineup. So you got a guy like Micah Bate, who you said hit close to 400, and he's their leadoff batter. So he's almost a guarantee to get on base. Then you got guys following him.
And
like
they said he might even move to third.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter.
That's how well he hits. So there's a lot to be excited for with the Pioneers, especially the returners, because as you said, the guys who were coming back this year were probably their best players from last year. So there's definitely a lot to be excited about with the returning players.
But when you look at it, then you look at the pitching side of it, and that's where it starts to get a little shaky.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only different part. This team averaged 6 runs a game last year, but they gave up close to 5.5.
Yeah.
That led to their winning record, but at the same time.
If there was one area of concern for Coach Lauderhan, it was that he doesn't have one specific ace. He said it's going to take about 15 games to really know who's going to be a clear-cut first man in the rotation. And sometimes it's good because it leads to competition within your team, which is good. It's healthy competition. But going into opening day, you kind of want to have an idea of who your main guy is going to be going forward, your security blanket to throw on, your pitching rotation. But, you know, you got a lot of guys coming back from injuries. I know they're getting Jeff Lombardi back, and he's going to be a good arm in the rotation. Just, you know, Eric Rosenberg, I believe, is getting the start today.
He's getting the start today, and he played in 15 games last year.
Right.
Pitched to around a 4 ERA. He only started 2 of them. This is a guy who came in middle relief. Talking to the coach, he said he might only get 60 or 70 pitches today, so that translates into about 2-3 innings.
Well, he said that
maybe
for a number of his guys.
Majority
so
of
he wants
guys,
to keep
might
his
even
pitchers
see
on
like
the pitch limit.
5 or 6 pitchers in every game because there were so many pitchers on this team. And that's not a good way to go about it, but it's the only way Coach Lauderhan can because of the personnel that's on this team.
You guys briefly touched on last season. Now let's start comparing last season to this year. Can we see improvement this year from the Pioneers? Is it going to be a big upswing for them, or maybe, I mean, only 5 guys coming back, so maybe it won't be as great, but I think we have a chance to improve this year.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's 6 guys coming back. Wyatt pretty much hit on the core 5 there. They also have the catcher, Mike Knopf, coming back, who hit for .666. I believe he had Conference Player of the Week honors twice in his career with the Pioneers. So there's, you know, more than half the diamond is coming back for the Pioneers. And I think in baseball, more than anything, especially at the college level, experience is a huge factor, and especially learning how to win. So these older guys with some veteran experience can teach the younger guys, bring them along with them, and really teach them how to win at the college level. So I think it's definitely an advantage, Pioneers, having these guys come back.
Yeah, and I think if we take a look at the statistics from last season, I think you can really see how good they were hitting the baseball. I mean, they were 21-20. And they hit .285 at 230 RBIs. They only had 16 home runs, a little bit of drop-off in power from previous years. But at the same time, this team can hit with the best of them. It's just that, can this young core group of pitchers, who has another year under their belt, compete with the really good teams of the NJAC? We talk about it every single season with every single team. The NJAC is a really good conference.
It's going to be a combination of pitching and getting off to a hot start, because a lot of times last year, the Pioneers would have to rally off for 6, 7, 8 runs in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning. So if they can get off to a hot start also, I think they're going to see a lot more wins this season.
All right, let's switch it over to the softball side of the desk. Now, the team last year went 28-12. What's it looking like for this year? Are they going to improve from that very good season?
Definitely expect them to improve from last year's season because their in-conference record, they were only 9-9. If you take a look at the further statistics, you'll see that they were very good out of conference, 19-3. But the 9-9 record in conference is a place where they're going to improve, and nobody in the NJAC wants to see this team with how many good players they have returning.
I think that they have, it's kind of hard to tell because last year they did so well, but their first 12 games that they won were all games in Florida with teams that they don't play. They don't see them every year. They don't know how well they're going to do. when they start off this season, they start off playing a team that they lost to twice last year, and then they go back to the teams that they won, and then they go back. It's just hard to tell, but they do have really strong returning players that I think if they can pull this off with them, I think they can do it.
Now, you guys just briefly mentioned the returning players. Who are the returning players, and how big will they be going forward?
Right. The returning players are a lot of good starters, including starting pitcher Allison Podmurjerski, and she is called Allie Pod. That's her nickname, so we're going to stick with that. She absolutely dominated last year. 1.58 ERA in 31 appearances. She's the bread and butter for this team, and she is going to be helped out with a lot of good offensive options, a bunch of players that hit over 300. Nicole Fryer, Kim Fryer, Eleni Ludis in the outfield, Rachel Wazliski, and Caitlin Peretti, all strength up the middle, and that's important in a softball team.
You have so many returning players that these girls, they know how to play with each other. They know how each other is going to do. So I think with so many returning, you can rely on each other to do what you have to do and to win these games. If you have not so many returning players, you have to get used to everybody. You have to make sure that you like them enough to be like on top of everything, and you don't know how you're going to do it. But these girls, they know each other. They can do it.
Yeah, it sounds like they got a bright season ahead. That's all the time we have for WP Sports. Up next, we move to the hardwood to talk some NBA All-Star break. Don't go anywhere.